Bought a house today, and I don't quite know how I feel. I just keep thinking out loud every now and then. I bought a house. I bought a house with different emphasis on different syllables, different words. But I keep just repeating that to myself because honestly, after I got sick, I didn't think that this would ever happen. I honestly didn't even think that I'd live on my own again. And so there's a lot of feelings that I'm having. Um, yeah, I'm chronically ill, and that makes things a lot more difficult because my energy is all over the place. Some days it's fine, I can walk 2 to 3, maybe 4 blocks, but then immediately after, it's basically veg out on the lazy boy or the recliner and be unable to move. Feel like I'm wearing a 500-pound suit of armor, and it's difficult to live, to breathe, to exist. So I'm really excited that I bought a house, but I'm also really nervous because can I handle it? That's the main thing that I'm wondering. But I keep trying to tell myself that it's not about independence. Life is not about independence. It's about interdependence. Because none of us are independent. Unless I grow um, my own seeds that I cultivated from the very beginning, on land that I cultivated from the beginning of time, I'm not really independent because I am relying on the people who made the seeds, the people who cultivated the seeds, the people who bred the fruit to create the seeds that are needed. All of those things are needed. So no one's independent. Everyone is interdependent. We rely on others for clothes, and even if we make our own clothes, we have to buy the materials. If we don't buy the materials, and it goes back to the seeds. So I just keep trying to remind myself interdependence, not independence, because life is not about separating yourself from others. It's about relying on others, building relationships with others. I think. Maybe that's not what life is about. Who knows what life is really about? Isn't that the whole. Maybe it's about 42. Yeah. Yep, that's the answer. Who knows what 42 actually means, because the world ended first. That's Douglas Adams' Hitchhikers to the Guides to the Galaxy, in case anyone's wondering. So, I think I'm definitely worried. I bought a house. I'm excited that I bought a house. And I'm terrified that I bought a house because I can't even tell you how many times I've tried to start something and failed and not finished and all of the things. I've started so many things and I can't finish them. Started meals that I started with having energy and then suddenly no energy whatsoever. And I have to ask my mom to finish it up. It's difficult. It definitely affects my life. But I bought a house. Oh boy. I bought a house. I'm just trying to process through that. Um it's not quite clicking yet. Maybe it will at some point, maybe a year or two after I live in the house, it will click. Oh yeah, I bought a house. Okay. Might never happen. I got sick in 2017, after a cold or something, and suddenly it felt like I was wearing a 500-pound suit of armor trying to walk around campus because I was going to for my PhD in rhetoric and professional communication. And it didn't really work out um, because I got sick, and yeah, I used to present at a lot of conferences every single year, at least 6 or 7 conferences every single year, presenting on usually disability and rhetoric, disability in rhetoric, focusing on autism and how that the rhetoric of autism and the rhetoric of communication about autism. Rhetoric is basically how we communicate. And I got sick, and walking around in slow motion is how I would describe it. It was very difficult walking 3.5 miles every single day because well, their bus system was not the greatest down there. So yeah, I had to move home because I couldn't take care of myself. And when I got home, I was sleeping 17 to 20 hours every single night, every single day, and I wasn't able to function. I got up to pee, got up to eat, and that's about it. I guess, you can throw in poop in there if you really want to. But that was pretty much it, and I would go back to sleep or go lay in bed and just stare at the wall. And that's not a fun way to live. So, what is this YouTube channel? I think this YouTube channel is about my chronic failure. The failures that I have because of the chronic illness, because I want to redefine my relationship with failure, because I think our society thinks that failure is such a bad thing. And I don't know if it is necessarily such a bad thing, because failure is a part of learning, failure is a part of life. Because with a child who first starts walking, well, they're not necessarily going to be able to just automatically do it. They're going to fall. They're going to fall a lot. They're going to fall quite often, which is the same thing as a lot. So we would not tell, let's see, yeah, we wouldn't call them a failure. We just would say they failed at that. Well, we would encourage them, more likely than not. But they are technically still a failure. So it's like, I think we need to redefine our relationship with failure. It's not a bad thing. It's not a bad thing. And just like a newborn, just like a baby, I have to learn my new body's limitations, my new body's abilities, and just learn how to exist in this life. And I'm excited about that. I'm nervous about that. So this YouTube channel is basically follow along on my journey to interdependence. Watch me fail at doing random stuff like cooking art. Not cooking art, but cooking, art, music, 3D wood puzzles, clay. I don't really know what. Just maybe I'll get better at those things. Maybe I won't. But I love learning, and I get to learn my new abilities because I always get an endorphin rush from learning. And this thing is all over the place. Yeah, great. Great first video. Yep. I failed at that.